Welcome to Strategic Transformations with Nikki. I'm your host, Nikki Cates, and I am thrilled to have you join us on this empowering journey. This is the podcast where we dive deep into the art of strategizing, transforming, and empowering women both in life and at work. Each episode will explore the powerful intersection of transformational coaching, life strategies, professional development, and personal growth. Whether you're a leader, an inspiring entrepreneur, or someone striving for more in your personal life, this podcast is your go-to resource for actionable insights and inspiring stories. So get ready to unleash your potential, overcome challenges, and create the life and career you've always dreamed of. Let's strategize, transform, and empower together. Let's get started. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, so this is the first time I've actually done a video for the podcast. Obviously, the first 3 episodes were strictly audio, which I felt so much fun. And I just thought it was just the greatest thing ever since sliced bread, just doing just audio. Because if you've been following me for any time, you know that I do not like being in front of the camera, but God says otherwise. So this is my first video corresponding with the podcast today. Now that I've got my little spiel out there and try to make myself feel a little bit more comfortable, I am Nikki Cates Miller with Strategic Transformations. I am a transformation coach, life strategist, corporate trainer, entrepreneur, change agent, writer. I really like to just tie everything under one thing. So that would be lead transformation strategist for Strategic Transformations. I am not just a coach. I like to provide strategy. I like to teach and train as well. And my dream is to do that across the globe in places where women would never have access to it. So that's ultimately my dream, and also to have a team to also do the coaching and training across the country at the minimum, preferably globally at some point in the future, providing these services and, really investing in and pushing organizations and governments and communities to invest in women, particularly women that are considered in marginalized communities, so that we have more opportunities for leadership and management and financial success. So that is what I am hoping to do out here in the world. Anyway, this week we are starting with a new topic because it is June. Let me tell y'all, every time that I type the number 6 at all today, I just could not believe that it's actually June. Like, we are actually in the 6th month of this year, and I am mind blown. It is the 3rd of June. I'm recording this, and I'm still trying to get used to it. It's been a couple of days. I'm still like, what is happening? I cannot believe this. So we're going into the 3rd quarter of the year. There's only 4, y'all. We are halfway to Christmas and New Year's already. So yes. It's time for us to get ourselves on track for the rest of the year. That's my goal, is to finish up June strong. So July, I'm hitting the ground running. I've put things into place, and I'm expecting to see some things start to produce in some way. That's what I'm hoping for, that the fruits of my labor, at least in small amounts, if nothing else, maybe not full harvest, but some fruit for all of the seeds that have been sown. So that's my hope. However, what I realized while I was working on research and preparing for this topic is that I am not that far removed from survival mode either. That's what we're going to be talking about today. How can you find inner peace? You have to overcome survival mode, or the survival mindset. And that is something that I have been struggling with myself. I also was born into a family of poverty in the rural South. We were born into, generations removed of slavery and sharecropping. We were, born into racial disparities and marginalization as Black people, as poor people, as women. It is what it is. That is where I started my life. And that is like the rest of us, either born into marginalization or we immigrate to the US and are automatically placed into that label and that community and that status based off of the color of our skin or our gender. So, or our disability or our sexual orientation. It could be any of those things that would cause us to fall into that marginalized portion of the population as considered, because we are not, the American desired norm. I would say that in 2024, that should not automatically come to mind what that looks like to us, but I think that all of us can automatically think what that should look like based off of American history. So yes, all of us that are considered minorities have come into some form of marginalization in some way. Some of us have it intersectionally, various layers of it, like myself. When you are a minority, a woman of color, you are a woman, you are coming from poverty and a poor mindset and lifestyle, you're coming from the military, a veteran, you are a service disabled veteran, like this thing has layers. Invisible disability. So yes, it could go on and on and on. So, but let's talk about not just about marginalization. If you check out my blog post, I go pretty deeper into how this looks for someone that would fall into a marginalized community, because obviously the stressors that we're going to experience are not going to be the same as someone that is not a part of what would be considered a disempowered community in the United States of America. It's going to look different. So I'm going to get real with you for a moment. I have gotten to the point in my life where peace is everything. Inner peace, surrounding myself with peace. I want peace in my home. I want peace in my car when I'm riding in it. I want peace. People that I interact with, people that I hang out with. No trauma, no drama, no mess, just peace. And I realized one day during the pandemic, actually, that the last thing I had access to at the time was any type of peace. Now, since I've been here in Florida and I've done some mindset work and done some work on healing my soul and letting God heal me and lead me on that journey, I've come to realize that peace is literally everything. It's too difficult to find it. It's too difficult to maintain it, to not acknowledge it. I saw this post on Instagram, I think yesterday, and I can't take credit for it, because it's not mine. I'm borrowing it. But it said that I am a masterpiece trying to become a master at peace. I might have messed up the paraphrase, but you get the point. We are God's masterpieces, and we do have to become masters of peace. Because let me tell y'all something. Maybe you're still in the thick of it. And maybe you're still surrounded by drama and driven by unhealed trauma, okay? Drama and trauma. Those are two significant ways to have your peace imprisoned and not accessible to you. And trust me, I have been there, okay? I have a closet full of been there, done that t-shirts from years of chaos and trauma and drama. I was good at living in chaos. I was used to it. I was addicted to it. But now I'm learning how to be good at peace, and it's a work in progress, just like I am. So I'm encouraging you to consider, do you have peace? Or is it something you get occasionally when you faux meditate or only when you're in prayer or at church in worship do you experience a temporary peace? But otherwise in life, everything is just chaotic. Think about it. So keeping it real, peace is a choice, y'all. You have a choice whether you want to pursue and become a master at peace. Some of us have become masters at mess, and you know what I'm talking about. And that might be you, so don't get mad at me and turn off this podcast or shut up this video. It is very much so possible that could be you. I'm telling y'all, I was just telling someone, I was sitting across the table from a girlfriend, and I was telling her how if I had not done the work on myself, my daughters would not have the mother that they have today. I probably would have pushed my daughters away, like a lot of mothers do to their kids, because they are unhealed and they cause mess and drama and trauma in their children's lives. I thank God that I am no longer that petty, insecure, unstable, needy, clingy. Oh my gosh. Desperately trying to control someone or something so that I could just feel like I have a little bit of purpose and a little bit of adequacy in this world, because all I felt from all of my 20s and 30s is that I felt inadequate to live this life. In my early 20s, I thought I was going to die early because I thought I had already did everything. I literally was believing that lie, y'all, because I had 2 kids at 19 and had already become a wife. I just thought that was it for me. But today, I thank God for all of that. I don't have any regrets. And I think that's where some of my peace comes from, is I don't have any regrets about it. Do you have regrets? Something to think about. If you do, that might be stealing your peace. When you choose peace, you open the door to transformation. But remember, it is a process. Just like transformation, peace is a process. It's not a final destination. But it's a choice we have to make every single day. When I tell you, when I started going over and writing this article, I was like, man, I thought I had been doing good, y'all. I probably have. But I started going through like the survival mindset, and I was like, man, I'm still dealing with this myself. So trust when I tell you, I'm only a couple steps ahead of you on this. I'm still working through it my doggone self. Choosing peace, especially God's peace, means trusting Him to protect and provide at all times. It's easier said than done, because our thoughts say one thing, people around us that don't walk by faith but walk by fear say another thing, society says another thing. You watch the news and everything's going to fall apart. I know it's a tall order. It's a venti order. What is it? A Trenti at Starbucks? The biggest size? It's a huge order, but God is more than capable. He's more than capable. On a daily basis, choosing inner peace means making an intentional effort to leave behind survival mode. There's that word again, intention. Think of a survival mindset as a prison warden, keeping us locked away from a life of peace. Is your peace being imprisoned right now? You need those bars to be opened. For those of us in marginalized communities, we often start life in survival mode. Well, I already talked about this. Our society sometimes treats us, I would say most times, as insignificant and disempowered. But we are far from powerless, because we are powered by God's divine power. We were put here for that reason. And if we're not walking in it, we can ask for it. We can seek it. We can pursue it. We can knock and the door shall open. A purpose to live a life full of love, peace, and prosperity is what we are meant for. Think about it. All of us want the same things, no matter where we're from, no matter where we're at in the world, our socioeconomic status. You can have all the money or you can have zero money. All of us want to be seen and heard. All of us want to be loved. All of us want peace. All of us want to walk in purpose. We may not know how to articulate it that way, but that's what we usually want as humans, is to have purpose. And prosperity, we'll talk about prosperity next week. It's not just money. Not at all. So back to my I'm a masterpiece trying to master peace statement. I encourage us to adopt that statement and be relentless about our pursuit to inner peace. Because when we find it individually, we can create a peaceful world collectively. It becomes better for everyone around us, right? I'm still working on it. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I didn't even realize I was that far gone, still more so in the survival mindset than not. And I'm being transparent with y'all because I know I'm supposed to be sitting here trying to make it seem like I'm the expert. I know what I'm talking about, but I also know that I'm still walking the walk and I'm still learning the lessons just like you are. So collectively, we can make the people around us better. We can make our workplaces better, our churches, our communities, our homes, our friend circles. If it's full of drama, you might want to, consider, setting some boundaries and finding a circle that gives you peace. Because if you just keep throwing yourself in the lion's den, what do you expect? Who wants to keep living as a gladiator for the rest of their life? For real. Anyway, so now let's dive into this survival mindset. What is it? Wednesday, I believe, we'll be releasing a freebie document for you all to take a survival mindset quiz to see if you are, in fact, operating out of the survival mindset. And then I'm asking you, if you take that quiz, join me on Friday for the Ask Nikki weekly check-in on Zoom and let me know what your results came out to. Let's talk about it. Because there's a strategy uniquely for you to change that. And again, it's a journey. It's a process. It's not going to just happen overnight, but you can start working towards it. One thing I know, I may be struggling in some ways with it, but I'm moving forward only. That's my saying, moving forward to myself. Keep marching forward no matter what, just one foot in front of the other every single day. And I'm encouraging you to do the same thing. So, women in marginalized communities face unique challenges that keep us in survival mode. Do you agree? Balancing multiple roles, overcoming systemic barriers, and navigating economic hardships can leave us feeling constantly overwhelmed. This mindset is not just a hindrance, it is detrimental to our growth and well-being. When you are in survival mode, I was talking about this in a speech I just did at Toastmasters a couple weeks ago. I think I talked about it on another podcast. But I was just telling my story and about how coming from African slave as my ancestors, of the women were required to be selfless workhorses. What did Malcolm X say? That the Black woman is the mule of the world? Literally, that's how we have been treated. And it's not to say that our Latina sisters have not experienced the same, or our indigenous sisters, or our Asian sisters. All of us come from, in some way or some sort, third world countries. Maybe not all of us per se, but historically, and especially coming into the United States of America. Every single one of those demographics or groups at some point was put into this pocket of society and considered marginalized, less than, and struggling to have the success that we wanted to see. And that's true. And what does that do? It puts you in a space where you can't see into the future. You can't focus on, as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you can't focus on self-actualization because you're still dealing with the survival part. You're still all the way at the bottom of the pyramid. You can't just jump from 1 all the way up to 5. I think it's 5. You can't. If you're in a survival mindset, you're still trying to worry about the basic necessities, like a roof over your head and food in your mouth and, just the basic things. And then you've got your family and your children and your spouse. And if you're taking care of a parent, all of these different things that cause us. And granted, I will say, this is all people. However, it's different when you add on the additional layers that come with being a part of a marginalized community. That's my bottom line there. I'm not saying that our Caucasian sisters are not going through any of these things as well and can't be in survival mode. That is an absolute lie. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying there are additional layers for people of marginalized communities. So, what exactly is a survival mindset? It's when you are focused on the immediate survival rather than long-term well-being. Think about it. Back in the day, the women in our time previously, they didn't have time for self-awareness and self-reflection and self-discovery and self-care. Most of them did not, unless they were born into or came into a lot of money. But even someone that came into a lot of money, like, for example, Madam C.J. Walker, she still had to find her way through survival with the money, with the people around her that were the same race as her, came from the same beginnings, as well as those in other cultures and races. So it's not necessarily the money. It's not necessarily the financial well-being or the professional well-being or the degrees. It's about the mindset. Are you always in a heightened state of stress, just trying to make it through the day? Listen, I'm going to be frank with y'all. That's how I felt today. I was supposed to record this podcast hours ago. Work and jumping back and forth, multitasking, because multitasking is literally, like they said, you literally have to start and stop and start over. And I just go with the flow. Survival. All right. So I want you to think about that. We are works in progress. We are never going to reach perfection. It is not a human quality. It is a divine quality. So let's cover some signs of living in survival mode. We're going to recap because they were already in the blog post. And I know we did some social media content this week as well to kind of cover what that would look like. But just real quick, we'll go over a few things to tell you what that looks like, because we've already talked about what peace is. Peace is that calm. It's that serenity. It's that love from God and that knowing that He's got you no matter what. And it's that knowing that you have everything that you need in that moment. Contentment. I don't like to use the word happiness because happiness is fleeting. It's an emotion that comes and goes. But contentment is, I have everything I need right now in this moment, this season of my life. It's not perfect. There are still some things that are missing. There are still things that I want to get to. And that's where I thought that I was. I thought that I was in a really good space of I am content. I am at peace along the journey. I thought I had learned to get to that point, and I think I have. But I still struggle with living out of survival mode. So let's talk about what that looks like real quick. Constantly overwhelmed. Are you always feeling overwhelmed by daily tasks and responsibilities, even the most simple ones? Do you burn out easily? Do you burn out often? Burnout looks different for everybody, but it always includes increased anxiety and decreased productivity. High levels of stress and anxiety. I realized something about myself, and I finally decided to care for myself more. And I used to make these excuses to myself that I'll do it one day when I'm not taking care of everybody. But I'm still taking care of everybody. Just because you got grown kids don't mean they gone. You still helping them. So I finally went and took myself to get a massage. I finally took myself to get a facial. All those things that, as we're getting older, they're very beneficial. And when I tell y'all, these shoulders and this back, man, I felt like cloud 9. But I realized a long time before that I am constantly tensing my shoulders. Even right now, as I'm sitting here filming, you might see me moving around because I'm trying to make myself untense. And that might be a lot of us. You know why? High levels of stress and anxiety. My body is accustomed to that. Some people, it might be muscle tension. Some people, it might be fatigue. Some people, it might be headaches and migraines. Thankfully, I don't have migraines like that anymore since I've changed my diet. But We'll talk about this on week 4 when we're talking about holistic harmony, and I'll have Dr. Siobhan Lamar on, and we're bringing in the health aspect, the physical health aspect of it. But prolonged stress can have serious health complications, from health problems to weakened immune system. Reactive living. Oh my gosh, y'all. This one for me is a very real one. Are you always putting out fires and dealing with crises as they come instead of planning and being proactive? Yes. This can make you feel stuck or like you have no long-term vision or goals. Do you have difficulty relaxing or unwinding? Now, this one I can say I've been working on. I've learned how to allow myself to do nothing. Mindless activities that don't require me too much thinking or feeling, or relaxes me, like coloring or painting, walking. And a lot of times, the things that I'm stressing about, once I do something like that, the answer comes. I think the stress comes from trying to force the answer instead of allowing it to come naturally. But are your thoughts always racing? I've been in a space where my thoughts have been racing, and I had been doing so well. So you have to be diligent, y'all, to guard your heart, your mind, your soul. Are you neglecting self-care? Are you prioritizing everyone else's needs over your own? Skipping meals, not exercising, not doing the things that would give you more energy, abiding by we're going to talk about this in my strategic well-being, strategic productivity trainings, but utilizing your energy clock. That's the real thing. If you're not clear, this is why I say time management, energy management are not the same thing. You can time manage all you want and still be spent energy wise because you're not utilizing your energy effectively. That's part of self-care. Learning these things so that you can apply them and make life easier. Work smarter, not harder. All right. Emotional exhaustion. Are you feeling emotionally drained by the end of the day? Preoccupation with constant worry. Are you always worried about the future or regretting the past? This is where the beauty of mindfulness comes in. Not just meditation. You're not just humming. You are constantly aware of your thoughts and you're keeping them in the present moment, because you can't change what already happened and you can't make happen whatever you're trying to make happen. Trust me, I've tried over and over. It doesn't work. All right. Difficulty finding joy. When I read this, I was like, you know what came to mind? If you watch the Prime series Harlem, the last season, I think it was the last season, where they did the Black Joy exhibit. Was it the last season or season 2? I should have went back and looked before we did this episode. But Harlem did an episode where the star of the show, Megan Good's character, she chose to do her PhD project on Black Joy. And I just thought that was the most beautiful thing ever, because you would think that joy would be something just as humans that we would experience, and it is not. And I remember when I first started therapy back in 2020, I remember saying that to my therapist. I cannot feel happy. I can't tap into joy. Even when it's something happening that I felt like I should be experiencing that emotion, it wasn't coming because I was so engulfed in survival mode and fear and chaos. So think about that. Are you experiencing joy where you should? Not just for you, like for other people. Like I talked about this on a reel this weekend when my best friend got her hearing aids. And she was so excited hearing things and experiencing things that she'd never experienced before. For me, I had sheer joy about that. Because 1, I was able to experience that with her. And 2, the blessing of her being able to experience that at our big age. Beautiful. Joy. There was a day I would not have been able to have that joyful experience with her. We got to do the work on ourselves, y'all, because it does affect the people around us. And it affects the quality of life that we have for ourselves and that we provide to others that are in relationship with us. So Recognizing these signs is the first step towards shifting from survival to peace. Because we're in marginalized communities, we may experience additional pressures that can make these things more intense. But identifying them, you can start to take proactive steps to addressing them. So this week, we have explored multiple strategies to move from the survival mindset to inner peace. And I hope that you will join us. Next week, we'll be talking about prosperity, and then the third week will be purpose. All right. Well, that's it. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know how you're living these days. And are you surviving day to day, or are you moving with intention and purpose toward peace, prosperity, and purpose? Let me know. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Oh, action steps. Take the Are You in Survival Mode quiz. If you are in survival mode based off those results, download the 14-day self-awareness coaching workbook for free and join our Facebook group. I'm going to be posting a coaching question and a journal prompt for you to do some reflection and kind of start working through that process. I'd love to hear your response. Remember, Friday nights we'll be hopping on so that we can have these conversations, and I will talk to you all next week. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to talking to you soon. All right, bye. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Strategic Transformations with Nikki. I hope you found today's discussion both insightful and inspiring. Remember, transformation isn't just a destination, it's a journey, and every step you take brings you closer to the empowered life you envision. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other amazing women in your network. For more resources, strategies, and to stay connected with me, follow me on social media at I am Nikki Cates, and visit my website at www.nikkicates.com. Don't forget to join our community of like-minded women who are dedicated to strategizing, transforming, and empowering each other every day. Until next time, keep strategizing, keep transforming, and keep empowering yourself and those around you. You have the power to create incredible change in your life and work. I'm Nikki signing off. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.